Awakening is a journey full of pain and transformation. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. Awakening is officially a journey of suffering and breaking. Do not be mistaken about this. Enlightenment is a process of destruction. It has nothing to do with becoming better or happier. Enlightenment is the collapse of all that is unreal. It sees through the facade of pretense. It is the complete erasure of everything we imagine to be real. Spiritual awakening means waking up to your true nature, and it is not a walk in the park. Because recognizing your true nature means letting go of all the old patterns and preconceptions about who you thought you were. As you grow, you quickly form a mental image of yourself based on personal and cultural conditioning. We might call this phantom the ego. The term ego means different things to different people. But as I use it here, it refers to a false self created by unconscious identification with the mind. When we begin to awaken to our true nature, our ego faces a crisis, a kind of death, and does everything in its power to preserve its existence. As we awaken, our entire worldview is shaken, and we begin to see the illusory aspects of the ego, understanding our role in the universe. The departure of the ego is a rite of passage on the journey. We realize we are dependent souls, and the ego is merely a tool we use. Sometimes it is said that spirituality is a lonely journey. In the early stages of the spiritual journey, we may feel very lonely because our worldview is changing. We have so many questions and find few people to share them with. It is important to spend time alone in solitude, meditating to gain a deeper understanding of our true nature. Once we delve deeper into the practice, we discover that we are not as alone as we thought. We are always connected and supported by the infinite. The answers we seek appear before us in meditation, through books, or from anyone we encounter. Once you awaken, you will no longer be entangled in dependent relationships because you have mastered the art of solitude and being entirely yourself. This is when you connect with your soul tribe. The ability to be alone is the ability to love. This may seem paradoxical, but it is not. It is an existential truth. Only those capable of being alone are capable of love, sharing, and diving into the deepest core of another without becoming dependent, without turning the other into something else, and without being addicted to them. They grant the other absolute freedom because they know that if the other leaves, they will remain as happy as they are now. Their happiness is not taken away by the other, as it was never given by the other. We must experience great cognitive dissonance when awakening and going through the process of soul realization. We are forming a new worldview, one that is entirely different from the way we used to see things through conditioning. Initially, we face significant cognitive dissonance. However, as we become more aligned with our true nature, we boldly express this new worldview. We experience freedom, courage, expansion, and love, universal in a way we never have before. When you confront your shadow side, when we begin meditating or becoming aware of who we truly are, we face what has been hidden in the subconscious. It is a process of cleansing and transformation, where everything that needs to be transformed is brought to light, whether we want it to or not. Once we begin to fully accept ourselves, we awaken to see the wonder of the universe that we truly are, realizing for the first time that we are powerful creators. When you awaken, there is no place left to hide. You can lie to others, but you cannot lie to yourself. Once you start awakening, you recognize that you are a powerful creator. You embrace the freedom and ability to create your own life. You realize that life holds the meaning you give it, and you begin to align with your true self, acting from that place. You understand that even if you stumble, you have the capacity to rise and continue. Enlightenment does not necessarily mean becoming a Buddha, nor is there a specific destination you must reach. Be yourself on the path of enlightenment to live fully in this lifetime. Enlightenment, to me, is simply the feeling of understanding, the sense of knowing oneself and the world deeply. It is the sense of seeing beyond, of perceiving other dimensions within the enlightened state. Enlightenment does not require supernatural powers, and relying on such abilities to seek belief in enlightenment is merely a misstep on the journey to truth and reality. Even the ego or the spiritual self, when trying to hold on to everything, can become a barrier. Profound spiritual insights, if clung to, can hinder progress. Nothing but the truth that you validate for yourself matters. Do not mistake knowledge for absolute truth. What you know may only be a small fragment on the limitless path of understanding. Remember, everything you know is still part of a larger journey where true comprehension has no boundaries. On the path of understanding, I do not want to speak about enlightenment, nor do I wish to claim myself as enlightened. But I want you to understand that enlightenment is truth. It is the profound understanding of all the states within you. It is knowing the stories of time as if truth throws everything you have never faced directly at you. Enlightenment is not something extraordinary, but simply awareness. It does not come from seeking, but from confronting oneself, whether in suffering or happiness. The blows of life, the failures and losses, all are part of the journey. When I was not awakened, I used to think that wealth was success, and those without ambition were to be blamed. I immersed myself in the material world, chasing fame and fortune, living in an illusion. But after awakening, I cherish every moment of the present, living authentically and wholeheartedly with myself. When I was not awakened, I believed that cultivating spirituality required going to temples, following a particular sect, or reading numerous philosophical or Buddhist texts. After awakening, I realized that spiritual cultivation is not far away. It is embedded in daily life, in interactions with family, colleagues, friends, and the simplest of things. When I was not awakened, I thought being strong meant being tough and not showing weakness. But after awakening, I understood that strength sometimes lies in accepting one's vulnerabilities, in living truthfully with one's emotions. Cry when sad, laugh when happy, acknowledge pain, and then rise and move forward. When I was not awakened, I thought love was sweet words and endless comfort. But after awakening, I realized that loving correctly sometimes requires firmness, knowing when to stop, showing compassion without indulging. When I was not awakened, I thought the more I knew, the better, and that reading more books proved my worth. After awakening, I realized that books are just tools, a medium of connection. Reading is an experience, but real-life experiences are even more crucial. Now I read when the time feels right, without forcing or clinging. When I was not awakened, I thought family meant attachment, endurance, and coexisting at all costs. But after awakening, I understood that family is voluntary companionship, mutual love and respect, not forced endurance or obligation. Awakening is not a destination, but a journey. On this journey, you don't need to become someone else. You just need to be yourself, live authentically, and appreciate every experience. Therefore, even seemingly small matters, if kept bottled up inside, can accumulate and erupt powerfully, like the drop that overflows the cup. Upon awakening, I understood that relationships are both connections and debts. Each relationship appears to help us learn the lessons of our souls. When the connection ends, we part ways, each continuing their journey. That is the natural order. There's no need to cling or regret. When I was not awakened, I thought filial piety meant unconditionally obeying my parents, striving to do everything to please them, even if it made me uncomfortable. But after awakening, I realized that parents also have their own lessons to learn. If we only cater to them, we lose our voice, independence, and ability to take responsibility for our lives. When I was not awakened, I always thought that everything needed to be meticulously calculated and planned before taking action. But after awakening, I understood that not everything requires such precision. Some things must be done immediately to discover the answer, like washing your face to feel alert. I stopped overthinking and started acting more, learning from real-life experiences instead of endlessly pondering. When I was not awakened, I thought freedom was about having no attachments, being completely independent, and not relying on anyone. I threw myself into pursuing financial freedom, striving to walk alone without any help. But after awakening, I realized that true freedom is the peace of mind, the ability to take responsibility for life without straining oneself. Even though I still work for others, my mindset has completely changed. When I was not awakened, I thought happiness had to be sought elsewhere, requiring the sacrifice of money, time, and health. But after awakening, I realized that happiness is right within me, in every present moment. It was just that I couldn't see it before. When I was not awakened, I wanted to be like this person or that person. But after awakening, I looked at myself in the mirror and began to appreciate my true self. Here are some of my reflections on the stages of awakening. The 4 basic levels of awakening. Level 1, dependence. At this stage, one lives according to the majority, never questioning why. The mind is clouded, unable to comprehend the nature of the world. You imitate others without forming your own opinions or individuality. This stage is known as illusory clarity. Level 2, questioning. At this level, you begin to question everything in life. No longer following the crowd, you develop your own principles and standards. You seek understanding and want to grasp everything. However, the ego is still dominant, leading to selfishness, attachment, competition, and concerns about winning or losing. While you might achieve wealth and success, your mind remains troubled, burdened by attachment and dissatisfaction, which can lead to depression. Those at this level need to learn acceptance, transform their ego, and cultivate kindness and compassion. By giving more and embracing a selfless mindset, they can overcome suffering. Level 3, inner peace and transformation. Individuals at this stage live and work with great tranquility, positively influencing others. They find success in both material and inner life, mastering the art of transforming suffering and understanding the principles of suffering and impermanence. People at this level are often middle-aged, elderly, or those who have spent years in spiritual practice. When problems arise, the universal laws operate naturally to resolve them with minimal effort. They accept and go with the flow of life. However, they may still cling to the spiritual ego, believing themselves to be awakened and imposing their experiences and knowledge on others. At this stage, the ego exists in subtle forms. Those at this level should maintain their practice, continue personal development, and contribute to their community. They should also explore further knowledge and integrate their learning into real-life experiences, avoiding turning insights into mere theories. Their practice should follow the principle of harmonizing theory and practice to ensure their understanding remains balanced. At this level, they attain a state of peace and self-contentment. However, overcoming the spiritual ego at this stage is exceedingly difficult. Transcending level 3. When one surpasses the 3rd level of awareness, they realize 2 profound truths: emptiness and non-self. Level 4. Rare individuals reach this 4th level of awakening. They exist in a state of suspension between the 3rd and 4th levels. In the world today, only a handful of people, countable on one's fingers, have attained this state of enlightenment. Throughout human history, those who have reached this level include Buddha, Pratyeka Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arahants, Jesus Christ, Laozi, the 28 Indian patriarchs, and enlightened figures in Chinese Zen Buddhism. If you are fortunate enough to encounter someone who has reached this level, cherish the opportunity. Cultivate yourself and understand that every experience holds its own meaning. By appreciating all things, you will learn profound lessons from life. A misguided mind leads to a misguided reality. Therefore, the most important task is to refine your mind. 4 stages leading to the path of awakening. The 4 stages of awakening. When this world suddenly undergoes numerous events that impact all of our lives, you may feel panic, disorientation, and a lack of certainty about what lies ahead. In those moments, have you ever asked yourself, what is the true meaning of life? Is it simply about living to the fullest because we only live once? Or is it about helping others, contributing to the world, improving ourselves, or achieving some great goal? Could it really be that straightforward? If, during such events or at any stage of your life, you find questions like these naturally arising in your mind and you are determined to seek answers, then congratulations. You have taken the first step on the path of awakening, also known as enlightenment or liberation. Awakening or enlightenment may sound lofty and mystical, For many, just hearing these words can feel discouraging or make them seem like illusions. But in truth, once you find the answers, you will realize they are incredibly simple and not distant at all. When you see the truth, the reality of life around you will unfold. You will understand who you truly are. Your life will radiate with clarity, exactly as it is. Nothing will be able to shake you. In that moment, your heart will overflow with boundless gratitude toward creation, for you will see within it an immense love for all of us. The 4 stages of enlightenment. Basically, there are 4 transformative stages leading to enlightenment. For each of us, these stages manifest differently depending on individual circumstances and the Dharma operating within each person. No one is superior to another in enlightenment. It's just that the process of awakening differs for everyone. When the time comes, even if you resist, you will awaken. Conversely, if the time hasn't come, no matter how hard you try, the answers will remain elusive. Stage 1. Living instinctively, an unselective machine. From birth to adulthood, we live instinctively. A child learns everything from the outside world, family, society, school. From there, a composite personality is formed. The saying, "Parents give birth to the child, but heaven gives the nature," holds true. Each child is born with a distinct personality, even before any external teaching has influenced them. Why is this? This delves into a deeper issue that we will address later. However, a child's initial composite personality is assimilated like an unselective machine because this is the instinctive stage. This isn't hard to understand. I believe everyone recognizes this. This stage serves as a foundation for stage 2. Naturally, no one is the same, as it depends on external factors, innate capacity, individual circumstances, or what is often referred to as the unique operation of Dharma in each of us. Stage 2, living rationally, a selective machine. This stage typically begins in adulthood, when a person starts forming a concrete sense of self, a selective personality, personal perspectives, or a distinct stance in life. This stage is crucial in our awakening process. Some may spend their entire lives in this stage, constructing an illusory sense of self so solidly that they die without ever progressing to stage 3. On the other hand, some may barely enter this stage before discerning what is real and what is illusory, thereby resolving to seek truth based on what they've verified. Awakening in this stage does not solely depend on time, speed, or the solidity of the illusory self. These are not the main concerns. The key lies in whether Dharma or circumstances lead you to the culmination of success or failure. This culmination refers to the breaking point of each unique illusory self. This can be understood as the moment when circumstances or obstacles become significant enough to dismantle your ego or illusory self, forcing you to surrender entirely to the workings of Dharma. That is when you begin transitioning to stage 3. When the time comes, Dharma will bring you specific circumstances sufficient to render the abilities, efforts, or struggles of your illusory self powerless. At that point, you are compelled to surrender to fate, falling into a state of unconscious acceptance of reality. It is precisely at this moment that you step into stage 3. Stage 3, the letting go of the ego. This stage occurs in 2 phases. The unconscious letting go. Why is it called the unconscious letting go of the ego? Because this is merely the beginning of stage 3. The ego, by nature, is non-existent and highly limited. Confronted with the miraculous transformation of Dharma, it is inevitably unable to truly grasp or act upon anything. In truth, the ego has never been capable of achieving anything. When pushed to its limits, the ego, the self, must concede to Dharma. At this point, unconsciously, the ego will let go. However, there is one crucial aspect at this point. You must recognize the unconscious letting go of the ego to realize that the ego, or the illusory self, is not who you truly are. Once you become aware of this unconscious letting go, you are ready to move to the final part of this stage, consciously letting go of the ego. Consciously letting go. The moment you consciously and actively let go of the ego is the moment you realize who you are. You have seen your ego, and thus you are completely free. You are no longer controlled by delusions, which are your greatest enemy. They used to hide in the shadows but have now been exposed by you. You can now step into the fourth stage with ease to further explore yourself. You will realize that you are far more extraordinary than you ever imagined because you are awakened. Stage 4, faith or selflessness. This is the stage of enlightenment, awakening, and discovery, the stage where you truly live. Why is it called truly living? Because before awakening, what you see with these physical eyes is merely an illusion created by the ego. It constructs a reality for you, dictating how you live and work based on its desires and aspirations. It is this ego that has been steering your life, dragging you into the cycle of birth and death. That is why, before awakening, no matter how successful you are or how much you achieve, there is always an underlying emptiness deep within you, a feeling of incompleteness, of being adrift without an anchor. Even if you build a solid foundation for yourself, everything you acquire, whether material or spiritual, is based on the illusory self. Therefore, it is all just an illusion. Hence, you cannot truly live until you awaken. When awakened, you will perceive life as it truly is. You will live in peace, serenity, and with boundless love. Seeing others still trapped in delusion at this moment, you will finally understand what unconditional love or true compassion is, a love that only the awakened can possess. You will become like a child, capable of loving even your enemies because you understand that they are merely acting unconsciously. They are simply intoxicated in their process of awakening. After all, you will see how the Dharma operates. You will live completely in harmony with circumstances, aligned with the Dharma, selfless and altruistic. Everything will lead you to liberation. The origin of noise. Have you ever wondered where all the noise, both external and internal, comes from? Or what happens right before a moment of joy or sadness arises within you? On a broader scale, where do all the events in your life originate? And even further, where does the universe itself come from? All these questions have one common answer. The most surprising thing is that this answer can be experienced by yourself through a simple experiment. Observe your breath, each breath. What exists before the beginning of a breath, and what exists after the end of each breath? Do you notice anything? Another experiment. Observe your thoughts. What exists before the beginning of each thought, and what exists after the end of each thought? Pay attention to the state between two thoughts. The answer is silence. On a deeper level, it is emptiness. The origin of all noise is silence. All joy and sorrow stem from emptiness. The origin of all events in your life is also emptiness. Indeed, the universe. Everything in this universe, though arising from countless dependent conditions, originates from the nature of emptiness. This is the realization of those who have attained enlightenment. They see this truth, understand its roots, and thus comprehend all things. In reality, all phenomena in life are merely illusions. There is no definitive essence or self. To take form, everything requires countless conditions to converge. Understanding that everything is illusory, one ceases to cling to anything. This is how one enters the flow of Dharma. Only by not clinging to Dharma can one see it as it truly is. What perceives Dharma as it truly is? The answer lies in our original face, our intrinsic nature, our awareness, and the pure essence inherent in all of us. Recognizing the true nature. To gain a clearer understanding of your true nature, you must grasp its fundamental mechanism. As mentioned earlier, the ego is not your true self. By recognizing this, you can return to your root, your intrinsic nature. From there, you begin a deeper exploration of it, how it functions, why it transforms your worldview, and ultimately how it allows you to taste the essence of liberation. The tools of intrinsic nature, the 6 sense faculties. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind are merely tools. They are the instruments of your intrinsic nature, used to interact with the material world. This is because intrinsic nature, also known as awareness, has no form, no image, no birth, no death, no being, and no non-being. Though profoundly mysterious, it exists within the physical body of all beings. Hence, it must rely on material faculties to function, enabling communication with the world and perceiving Dharma. Most importantly, it fosters mindfulness and enlightenment, guiding you back home. Awareness through the 6 sense faculties. How does awareness operate in our daily lives? If you pay attention, you'll notice that most bodily functions occur automatically. By automatic, it means there is no deliberate involvement of consciousness. For example, our breathing is entirely automatic. You do not consciously control it, yet your body breathes naturally. In fact, you cannot fully control it. The moment you try to control your breath, you will quickly feel fatigued. This is because you are acting against nature. Its mechanism is inherently natural, but when you interject the consciousness of the ego, it disrupts the system. Thus, the natural law within you is also disturbed. Another example is when you are eating rice. Without conscious control, your mouth will automatically open as food is brought near. These actions occur entirely on their own. Similarly, our sixth sense faculties naturally operate under an automatic mechanism. This is how intrinsic awareness functions through the sixth sense faculties. Without the interference of the ego to distort them, our faculties would simply act as follows. In seeing, just see. In hearing, just hear. In smelling, just smell. In tasting, just taste. In touching, just touch. And in thinking, just think. This is called returning phenomena to phenomena, or perceiving everything as it truly is. However, one must not cling to this state, for everything does not merely end there. The reason we cannot see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think as they truly are lies in the interference of the false self, the illusory ego. Where does this separate ego arise from? If you are not awakened, it is indeed difficult to perceive the true nature of everything happening around you. For instance, when you see or hear something, the image or sound is transmitted to your brain, where your consciousness arises. All information sent to the brain is processed and transformed based on an individual's perceptions, life views, and experiences. From there, you judge and evaluate everything you see, hear, and touch through a subjective lens, shaped by your own ideas. This is why each of us on this planet perceives every event differently. No one sees things exactly the same way. This forms the basis of the illusory ego, which gives rise to discrimination, competition, envy, and resentment. According to Marxist philosophy, this process of the brain's activity is defined as consciousness is the external material entering the human brain and being transformed within it. So what is your task now? Understanding the brain's functioning in this way, when the six faculties interact with the external world, the six sense objects, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thoughts, your task is to return to intrinsic nature and observe these interactions through awareness. A basic practice for beginners. When you eat rice, simply know that you are eating rice. Observe the body's actions while eating. Clearly feel how your body and mind respond to the act of eating without being influenced by consciousness, wandering thoughts, or judgments. This is crucial because the moment you lose full mindfulness, you will be dominated by the ego's consciousness. You will lose touch with reality and with phenomena as they are. At this time, it is essential to observe with letting go, clarity, stability, and purity. These are the characteristics of intrinsic nature. If your observation is accompanied by effort or struggle, it is the effort of the ego, and that is the wrong path. This state must be one of letting go, no judgments, no subjective evaluations. Letting go helps you return to emptiness, which is your true home. The wonderful thing is that once you know where your true home is, no matter where you go, you will always find your way back, for that is your home. Your worldview will transform. Previously, you didn't know who you were or where your home was, leading to wandering and suffering in the cycle of birth and death. Now you are awakened. You recognize yourself and your origin. The veil of ignorance has been torn away. What remains is to calmly step onto the boat of peace and liberation, to embark on life free from fear, avoidance, or desires. For you have understood the nature of birth and death, the nature of impermanence. You have awakened from the dream. The three realms are delusion. The mind is serene. One life of birth and death, nature remains constant. At dawn I see the blooming rose. My earthly footsteps light, the dream fades away. Enlightenment is the process of recognizing the ego's characteristics to return to the clarity, stability, and purity of intrinsic nature. You are intrinsic nature, and intrinsic nature is you. There is no need to search elsewhere. You simply need to return. Liberation is merely the inevitable outcome of enlightenment. Do not seek the past, do not long for the future. Only the present phenomenon exists, insight lies here.